Welcome back to our channel, Soap fans. Today is a beautiful day to dive into the most explosive, jaw-dropping twist to hit Los Angeles this year, bringing secrets, lies, and shattered trust to the forefront. The drama is heating up to an absolute boiling point, and we have all the exclusive, high-stakes details right here. The crashing waves outside the Spencer Beach house usually provide the perfect, rhythmic soundtrack for a blossoming romance. But tonight, they're the deafening backdrop to an irreversible turning point. A single, innocuous-looking plastic bottle has just become the detonator for the most devastating emotional explosion Los Angeles has witnessed in years. Well, Spencer, staggering through the wreckage of his shattered relationship with Electra Forrester, thought he had finally found a safe harbor in the arms of Melissa Dillon. He thought the intense, sizzling passion they shared was the beginning of a beautiful new chapter. He was dead wrong. In a cinematic, high-stakes collision of secrets and lies, was about to plunge headfirst into a nightmare of betrayal, discovering that the woman he was ready to give his heart to has been hiding a monumental, life-altering truth. The foundation of the Spencer family is about to crack, and the fallout will be absolutely catastrophic. The stage was set for a night of unparalleled intimacy. The dim, golden lighting of the beach house cast long, seductive shadows across the room, perfectly framing what was supposed to be a romantic milestone for Will and Dillon. For weeks, Dillon has been executing an aggressive, calculated, and relentless pursuit of the vulnerable Spencer heir. She capitalized on his agonizing heartbreak over Electra, offering a soft place to land and a shoulder to cry on. The chemistry between them had been undeniable, building from that fateful night they made out and fell asleep on the couch, to a simmering, undeniable physical attraction that promised to go all the way. Will, desperate to silence the lingering pain of his past, allowed himself to be swept away by Dillon's intoxicating charm. He let his guard down, believing that this mysterious, beautiful woman was exactly what he needed to heal. But fate, as it always does in the high-stakes world of daytime drama, intervened in the most unexpected and mundane way possible. Dillon, perhaps feeling the overwhelming pressure of the impending intimacy, stepped away from the living room, leaving her designer handbag resting precariously on the edge of the glass coffee table. In a careless, fleeting moment, Will brushed past the table, knocking the bag to the hardwood floor. The contents spilled out in a chaotic mess of lipstick, keys, and loose receipts. Will, ever the gentleman, immediately dropped to his knees to gather her belongings. It was then that his eyes locked onto a small, amber prescription bottle rolling across the floorboards. It wasn't the bottle itself that sent a chill down his spine, but the sheer secrecy that seemed to radiate from it. Will picked it up, his thumb brushing over the label, casually expecting to see a standard prescription for something entirely unremarkable. Instead, the medical terminology printed across the stark white label was entirely foreign to him. The words were complex, clinical, and completely out of place in the narrative he had constructed about Melissa Dillon. A heavy, suffocating silence descended upon the beach house, driven by a sudden, inexplicable surge of paranoia and curiosity. Will pulled his smartphone from his pocket. The harsh, blue light of the screen illuminated his tense features as his fingers flew across the keyboard, typing the name of the medication into the search engine. The loading icon spun for what felt like an eternity, suspending Will in a terrifying purgatory of the unknown. When the search results finally populated the screen, the breath was violently knocked from his lungs. The clinical definitions stared back at him, bold and undeniable, setting the stage for a confrontation that will change everything. The medication in his trembling hand was a specialized hormone therapy, specifically a regimen utilized for transgender hormone replacement. The words blurred together as the sheer, staggering magnitude of the revelation crashed over him like a tidal wave. Transgender. The woman he had been kissing, the woman he had held in his arms, the woman he was preparing to invite into his bed, had transitioned years ago. Will's mind began to race at 1,000,000 miles an hour, desperately trying to process the seismic shift in his reality. It was not the fact that she was transgender that sent him into a tailspin. It was the colossal, towering mountain of deception. She had looked him in the eyes, sworn her pure intentions, and allowed their physical intimacy to escalate to a boiling point without ever breathing a single word about her fundamental identity. Just as the horrifying weight of the betrayal settled into his bones, the sound of footsteps echoed down the hallway. Dylan re-entered the living room, a soft, seductive smile playing on her lips, completely oblivious to the nuclear bomb that had just detonated in her absence. The cinematic tension in the room was palpable, thick enough to cut with a knife. Dylan's eyes drifted from Will's pale, stricken face down to his hands. The smile instantly vanished from her face, replaced by a mask of sheer, unadulterated terror. She saw the amber bottle clutched in his grip. She saw the glowing screen of his smartphone. The oxygen was instantly sucked out of the room. The secret she had guarded with her life, the truth she had buried deep beneath her carefully constructed Los Angeles persona, was out in the open, glaring under the harsh light of discovery. For a moment that stretched into infinity, neither of them moved. They were frozen in a terrifying standoff, two lovers suddenly transformed into strangers on opposite sides of a battlefield. Then, Will's voice shattered the silence. It was not a yell. It was a low, trembling whisper laced with a devastating mixture of confusion, heartbreak, and feral rage. He held the bottle up, his knuckles white, and demanded an explanation. He demanded the truth, the raw, unfiltered truth that had been denied to him since the moment she waltzed into the Spencer estate. Every syllable that left Will's mouth was a dagger, slicing through the romantic fantasy they had built. He recounted their intimate moments, the vulnerability he had shown her, and the profound, unforgivable violation of trust he was experiencing in this exact second. Confronted with the undeniable evidence of her hidden past, Dylan's carefully maintained facade completely crumbled. The aggressive, opportunistic assistant who had boldly pursued the Spencer heir was gone, replaced by a terrified, weeping woman whose deepest vulnerability had just been forcibly exposed. Dylan collapsed onto the sofa, burying her face in her hands as agonizing, soul-wrenching sobs racked her body. Through the tears, the confession poured out like a ruptured dam. She admitted everything. She confessed that she had embarked on her transition journey many years ago, fighting against a world that constantly judged and misunderstood her, just to finally live authentically as the woman she always knew she was. She spoke of the pain, the surgeries, the hormone therapies, and the desperate, burning desire to just be seen as Melissa, without the heavy, suffocating baggage of her past. Dylan's tear-soaked plea was a desperate attempt to salvage the wreckage of their relationship. She looked up at Will, her mascara running, her eyes pleading for a shred of empathy. She swore that her feelings for him were real, that her love was pure, and that she never intended to hurt him. She explained that the fear of rejection had paralyzed her. She was terrified that if she revealed her transgender identity, Will would look at her differently, that he would pull away, and that she would lose the one beautiful thing she had managed to build in Los Angeles. She painted a picture of a woman trapped in a corner by her own insecurities, making a catastrophic error in judgment out of a desperate need to hold on to love. It was a raw, emotional defense, a soap opera confession of the highest order, designed to tug at the heartstrings of the man standing before her. But Will Spencer is a man who has just been pushed past his breaking point. The emotional defense, no matter how tearful or genuine, could not penetrate the thick, impenetrable wall of betrayal that had instantly erected itself around his heart. Will paced the floor of the beach house, his hands running frantically through his hair. He looked at Dylan not with hatred, but with a profound, shattering sense of deception. He reminded her, his voice cracking with emotion, that they were sharing a bed. They were sharing their bodies. Intimacy requires absolute, uncompromising honesty, and she had robbed him of his agency by withholding a truth of this magnitude. It was not about who she used to be. It was about the fact that she was willing to let him fall in love with an illusion, a carefully curated version of herself that omitted the most defining chapter of her life. As the confrontation reached a fever pitch, a dark, ominous shadow fell over the beach house, the shadow of Katie Logan Spencer. Will's mind, trained by years of surviving the cutthroat Spencer family dynamics, suddenly began connecting the terrifying dots. Katie had been relentlessly, aggressively investigating Melissa Dillon for weeks. Katie's maternal instincts had been screaming like a siren, warning her that this woman was hiding something massive. Will remembered the intense, fiery showdowns between Katie and Dillon. He remembered Katie cornering Dillon, demanding to know who she really was. He remembered Wyatt exposing Dillon's fake Nancy alias. The blank family tree, the suspicious behavior, the sudden, aggressive pursuit of the Spencer wealth, it all came crashing down on Will with the force of a freight train. His mother had been right all along. The implications of this revelation, extending beyond the walls of the beach house, are absolutely apocalyptic. Katie Logan Spencer is currently on a warpath, utilizing every resource in the vast Spencer empire to dig up the dirt on Dillon's past. Katie is already disturbed by Dillon's connection to the dangerous Remy Price. What happens when Katie's ruthless investigators unearth these medical records? What happens when the matriarch of the Spencer family discovers that the woman trying to sink her claws into her son has been lying about her fundamental identity? It will be a nuclear detonation in the Spencer boardroom. Katie will not see a woman who struggled to live her truth. She will see a calculated, manipulative predator who deceived her vulnerable son in a desperate bid to infiltrate the Spencer legacy and secure a billionaire lifestyle. Will is now trapped in a psychological nightmare, paralyzed by the sheer weight of the information he holds. If Dillon could look him in the eye and lie about something so deeply personal, so monumentally significant, what else is she lying about? The paranoia is a toxic venom seeping into Will's veins. He begins to question every conversation, every touch, every tear. Is her love for him genuine, or is it just another layer of the grift? Is she really just a lonely assistant, or is she a calculated gold digger drowning in debt, exactly as Katie suspects? The trust is not just broken. It has been pulverized into dust, scattered to the wind by the crashing waves outside the beach house. Will is staring at a stranger, a woman whose entire existence in his life is suddenly framed by a giant, glaring question mark. This irreversible turning point sets the stage for the most explosive, high-stakes conflict of the season. Will Spencer is holding a lit match over a barrel of gasoline. He holds the power to utterly destroy Melissa Dillon's life in Los Angeles. He could march straight to Katie, hand over the pill bottle, and watch as his mother ruthlessly annihilates Dillon's reputation and career at Forrester Creations. He could expose her secret to the world, punishing her for the profound humiliation and betrayal he is currently suffering. Alternatively, he could choose to protect her, to bury the secret deep within the walls of the beach house, and become complicit in the lie that is driving his mother insane. The moral dilemma is agonizing, tearing Will apart at the seams as he stands over the weeping woman on his floor. The climax of the scene is a masterclass in dramatic tension. The beach house, once a sanctuary of budding romance, has transformed into a suffocating prison of deceit. Dillon remains on the floor, her tears staining the expensive rug, begging for forgiveness, begging for Will to see the woman she is now, rather than the lie she told to protect herself. But Will takes a slow, deliberate step backward, putting physical distance between himself and the epicenter of the betrayal. He looks at the pill bottle in his hand, the plastic feeling heavy as lead, and then looks back at Dillon. The silence that follows is deafening, heavier than any scream or accusation. The damage is done, the bridge is burned, and the explosive fallout is only just beginning. Will Spencer's heart has been shattered once again, and this time, The shards are razor sharp. As we look ahead to the impending chaos, the shock waves of this discovery will undoubtedly ripple through the entire canvas of Los Angeles. Electra Forrester, who violently slapped Dylan across the face for her smug confession of the beach house hookup, is still lurking in the background. If Electra discovers that the woman who stole her boyfriend has been harboring a secret of this magnitude, the Forrester and Spencer feud will reach a boiling point. Ridge Forrester and Steffi Forrester Finnegan will undoubtedly use this scandal to humiliate the Spencers, proving once and for all that Will's judgment is dangerously flawed. The corporate war between Forrester Creations and House of Logan is already a bloodbath, and this deeply personal scandal is the exact type of ammunition that both sides are desperate to weaponize. Dylan has inadvertently painted a massive target on Will's back. Furthermore, we must address the ticking time bomb that is Katie Logan Spencer's ongoing investigation. Katie is not a woman who stops digging when she hits a rock. She brings in the dynamite. The moment Katie's private investigators hand her the dossier containing the truth about Melissa Dillon's transition, the confrontation will be legendary. Katie will corner Dylan, not with questions this time, but with cold, hard facts. She will demand Dylan's immediate exit from Los Angeles, threatening to expose the secret to the tabloids if she does not comply. Dylan, desperate and cornered, might be forced to resort to extreme, dangerous measures to protect her new life. Will she turn to her manipulative cousin, Remy Price, for help? Will she attempt to blackmail the Spencers? The possibilities are as endless as they are terrifying, and the stakes have never been higher. In the end, the fate of this entire explosive storyline rests squarely on the shoulders of Will Spencer. The man who was just fired from Forrester Creations, the man who lost the love of his life in Electra, and the man who thought he had finally found solace, is now standing at the edge of an emotional cliff. The revelation of Dylan's transgender identity and her subsequent deception has forced Will to confront the darkest, most complicated corners of his own heart. Will he let the betrayal consume him, turning him into a vengeful, bitter man like his father, Dollar Bill? Or will he find a shred of grace in the wreckage, understanding the agonizing societal pressure that forced Dylan into hiding? The clock is ticking, the secrets are spilling, and Los Angeles is bracing for the ultimate impact. You will not want to miss a single second of the drama that is about to unfold. Will Spencer protect Dylan's secret or hand Katie the ultimate weapon to destroy her? Share your boldest theories in the comments below and subscribe for more explosive updates.